So, as I said earlier, it's our final show for the Men's Month, and it only made sense for us to have somebody who can help us cap all the knowledge, all our learnings about mental health, building our business, becoming better men, responsible men in our society. We have somebody who's going to help us close that up. So, our resource today is a behavioral coach, human development facilitator, leadership trainer, organizational development consultant. He's also into trauma-informed healing, neuro-linguistic programming, which I have done, and somatic therapy. Please help me welcome Coach Innocent Usar. Thank you so much. You have the mic right next to you.
Yeah.
So good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
So before we even go into our interview, Mr. Uza was the very first person who coached me on neuro-linguistic programming. I think when he was new in Nigeria, you're probably one of the first people to bring it, and all of us, there were many of us that started with the first set.
Yeah.
And since then, all of them have grown into big brands today. How does that make you feel? Let's start with that, because lots of people who are coaches today started from you.
Proud, excited. Nigeria has hope.
I remember when you brought this program in, it sounded very weird and different. People just didn't understand it. In fact, many thought we were crazy, and today, everybody's a coach. And do you still feel that sense of fulfillment that you actually, the job you came to do to change the mindset is gradually already coming into Nigerian space?
I'm excited. There is some change, but with what's happening in our country and with a lot of people aspiring to, go farther, do better, I think there's a lot of work to do. But partly excited and then partly just bracing up for more work. Really.
So now let's come to the issue of men. Because this whole month we've been having all male guests. We wanted it to be a men's month, and today's our final day. And one of the things that really come through the entire days we've done this month is the issue of men and old habits, their inability to change. They say, that's how I was raised. That's how my father was. I can't be anybody else. Take me as I am. A lot of women are saying, every day we go for conferences, we unlearn, we learn new things, we try to be better. But our husbands are not willing to change. As somebody who has also coached both men and women, how can we help men, or how can men help themselves to have a better grasp of changing themselves and becoming better?
I think men have a unique challenge, and the challenge is that of acceptance, the challenge of being seen as weak, the challenge of being seen and perceived in a certain way and having been coached. Men generally are really generally badly raised compared to women. And I'm a man, and I'll say that for sure. My father would see us in the kitchen when we were kids and say, what are you doing in the kitchen? Get out. Then when I started having kids, I ensured they learned how to cook. Now, today, I'm so lazy with anything that has to do with the kitchen, and all of that. And I know friends, too, for whom cooking, household chores, and all of that wasn't really compulsory. But it was compulsory for women. Now, I have a policy with anyone trying to deal with addictions or personal challenges in life, work, career, anything. It's a formula I call NTTR. If you're dealing with any challenge in life, the first thing, N, is name it. Many of us live a life that is a lie, a packaged life, a life where we're dealing with something, but we say, oh, I just have some stress. We don't say, I am dealing with addiction to pornography. We do not say, I have a challenge with anger. So name it, say it for what it is. If you lie to yourself, you're on a wheelbarrow on your way to hell in this life.
Can I pause you for a second?
Yeah.
Do you name it to yourself or you name it to somebody else?
If you name it to yourself, it'll be easy to name it to somebody else. Most times we live in denial.
Okay.
We live in denial. Oh, no. It's just a temporary thing because I lost my job. It will soon go. Or when I make some money, so we are lying to ourselves, and it makes it easy for us to lie to someone else.
So tell yourself, I am addicted to pornography.
Yes.
That's name it.
Yeah.
Second N.
No. One N,
Oh.
double, second one are two T's.
Two T's.
Yes. The second T, the first T is to trace it.
Trace it. Okay.
Trace it. What opens the door for this thing to happen? Is it when I am when I have just had a quarrel with my spouse? Is it when I'm under a lot of tension because of some unachieved goal or personal objective? Is this when I'm broke? Is this when some money have just come into my hands? There's always a trace for every challenge that we're dealing with because it's a pattern. It happens over and over again. When people tell you, say, oh, this is the first time, it's like a thief. You catch a thief and he says, this is my first time. Usually it's not the first time. There is a pattern. So tell yourself the truth and then trace the origin. There is an entry point for every challenge. It comes because of something that's happened to you, something that you've witnessed, something from your history, something you grew up seeing, but something triggers it. So you trace it. The second T is to tell someone.
Tell someone. Okay.
Tell someone. Not somebody.
In Nigeria, it's hard to tell someone.
Yes, so I'm about to qualify that.
Okay.
Not every one of us, we know someone who is not a gossip. We know someone who is not always saying, oh, that one get belly, that one get belly. No. We know someone who is mature. Someone whom you don't tell and then it becomes the gossip for the
Mr.
part of
see,
town.
there's some gist about you.
Yeah.
That is so hot a gist that somebody else will hear it. It's hard for them not to tell somebody else.
Which is the reason why I say don't tell everybody, but there's someone. We always know someone we can trust, except when we haven't told ourselves the truth. Once we sit down, we tell ourselves the truth and say, now I'm going to tell Mr. Bayo. I'm going to tell Morayo. I'm going to tell this person because this person sounds like... You want to know somebody you can trust? Everywhere around us, there's someone who you've heard them saying, this man don't lose his job. I wish I could help them. This girl, they don't drive on for that marriage, but I wish I can help them. They always show empathy. They are not in a hurry to spread the news. They are always telling somebody to shut up with regards to somebody's...
Yeah.
That is a pointer. And we always meet these people in our families, amongst our friends and all of that.
NTTR, what's the R?
So Tracy, tell someone, the first R is... Replace it.
Replace it.
Replace it. So when you are dealing with something, don't just say, oh, I've gotten over it. Replace it with something else. When you're dealing with something and you found the solution and how to do it, you replace it with another activity because life does not harbor this empty space.
I need you to use your other mic because it seems like that mic is... I want our viewers to hear you. Yeah, okay. Please.
So replace it. Replace it with another activity, replace it with something else, because there is no room for this vacuum in life. It doesn't work. If something is leaving, something else must come that is positive, empowering, and useful.
So if you say I'm addicted to pornography, that we've had with men, especially on this month, is the issue of how they manage successful spouses. A lot of men are not really, the environment they live in right now is different from the environment they grew up, where mom was just the person who was receiving from dad and was at home. But today it's flipped, where more women are out there, more men are not as assertive as women would like them to be. And a lot of men are struggling with it. Not because they are jealous, but because they just feel like they are either inconsequential or they're not pulling their weight. How, as a coach who has also coached men in this situation, how can you help men to maneuver in this behavior?
At the roots of a lot of things, including addiction and what you just mentioned, is identity issues. Many people don't know who they are. And it's not just I'm innocent. It's not just, I'm Mr. Usar. It's about... If you ask most people, who are you? They say, I'm a driver. I am a horse rider. I'm a bike rider. Who are you beyond what you do? Because everybody is we are these people who you can't put us in one box. Who we are is widespread.
Yes.
But you must capture that and understand that I am a father, I am a joy giver, I am somebody's brother, I'm somebody's sister, I'm a dependable friend, and who I am is spread around like the roots of a tree, such that you can't uproot me. But for many people, you see, it's the reason why you hear people, their description is Dr. This. When you travel around the world, it's, oh, I am Joseph, Prince, and then you hear a PhD somewhere at the end. Sometimes, rarely, you don't even hear it. You see people, they are professors, you don't know they are professors, because the word professors just means a teacher, somebody who professes. It's not a post. But here you hear people engineer nowhere else in the world. My original training is in estate management. You hear surveyor, no need. Pharmacist happens a lot in Africa. Not really useful.
It qualifies who you are. Now, so
people struggle with who they are, with their identity. And when we live in a nation where people are applauded or appreciated based on titles, you have this happening. So the moment you have a woman having to earn more than the spouse, the boyfriend, the husband, whatever, this person who doesn't know who they are would quickly embrace societal defined roles, which is a man is supposed to do this. A woman is supposed to do that. Who set those rules? But because this has eaten deep into the fabric of who we are, we struggle every time we find ourselves in unusual terrains. But what we need to do is set aside time, go do some study, check up on yourself and say, who am I really? Outside of what I do, my profession, my title, my this, but who am I as a person? What was I created to do? What's my purpose? When we know that, it doesn't matter. For example, I don't have a university degree, but people don't know that. They think I'm a professor. I trained in other fields, but my wife is trained she's graduating this year with a PhD, sponsored by me. And that makes me joyous. That makes me happy. And I've had other people I've trained that have master's degrees who grew up with me as my children, not really my biological kids. It gives me joy. I've pushed a lot of people to get out there, to get a master's degree, to get a PhD, it doesn't affect who I am.
Love that. I love how we're summing this whole Men's Month up very well. Now, let's come to the issue of fatherhood. Because there's always this grouse at home when mothers feel like the men are being too hard on children, or they're not willing to. Because the men will say, this is how I was raised. Hard parenting is what I know. At least I was raised right. And there's always that conflict of, okay, I know hard parenting is what we all grew up with, but we're now learning a way to mix a bit of soft and hard and find a middle. But the men just believe, a lot of men, not all men, a lot of men still want to come so hard when it comes to parenting. So as a man, as a father, how do we meet each other halfway, especially in the home when it comes to parenting? And how would you suggest men should raise children differently from how we were raised?
There are families where the situation is reversed. The woman is the harder, the man is the softest.
Right.
With my kids, I'm the soft person. But what's going on really is, people in pain spread pain. A lot of men were raised in hardness. It has to be hard. It has to be tough. And they never sat down with dad who said, this is how to live life. But our biggest lessons come from the things that we see, because what we see, we have the tendency to become, except there is an intervention. And so what has happened with a lot of us men is we're chose to become good. You see, I stole as a teenager, I was locked up and blah, 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 blah. We're beaten, we're tortured, and then one day I showed up, and my mom shows up and she says, what did you need that I didn't give to you? But you see, we were stealing, so we would buy, there was a type of jeans then called Lona jeans, and in December we would take alcohol to impress friends, but when my mother asked that question, and she was the only parent that came where those kids were locked up, and I said to myself, I would never shame my mother again. But I'd had this beating and everything from my dad and all of it. That wasn't what caused change. It was when my mom asked, what did you ever need that I didn't give to you? And when she showed up where there was shame. So fathers need to show up. Fathers need to listen. But you see, you can't become what you haven't seen. Because we keep saying talk. We talk, but talk is preaching. Talk doesn't cause any change in behavior. We need men who will model good behavior for kids. We need men who will do the right thing. We need men who will say, I made a mistake. We need men who would say, it's to say, I know this one, I for do am well. And let the boys hear it, let the girls hear it, because the mistake doesn't define you. The temporary shame doesn't define you. It's the decisions that you make when you become strong and you persist in it that defines you and where you are headed to. But most people do not know that.
We have to wrap this up. Thank you. I feel like continue this conversation. I know he flew all the way from Abuja for our show. We have to fly him back ourselves this time because I think we need, in fact, maybe we should even do a part 2 of this afternoon. Maybe we'll record it and keep, because I can't let you go like this. But I have to go on a break. But thank you so much, Mr. Usar. We're going to have a second session with you because I need a one-on-one, because Nigerians need to hear more of you. Go on a break, go and bring our celebrity guest. Stay with us. We'll be right back.